Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm on a journey to achieve my financial goals and hopefully motivating you to achieve yours as well. So today we're just going to be going over the details of our rental property that we just purchased. As you all know, if you watch my most recent net worth update video, then you'll know that we just purchased our rental property last month. And so I just wanted to go over the details of it just to tell you all why we decided to invest in a rental property and what our plans are with this rental property. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so pretty much what we purchased was a single family home, and the price of it was $325,000, and it was appraised at $326,000. So that means if it was technically worth $326,000, that when we bought the house, it already came with $1,000 equity. So what we ended up doing was taking a mortgage loan out for $235,000, and we had to do a down payment of about $90,000, and then our closing costs ended up being almost $6,000. And so what I wanted to show you all here, by the time we actually closed on the house was worth $330,200. So we had already made back $5,000 in equity by the time we actually closed on the house. So especially considering we had to pay almost $6,000 in closing costs for us to get $5,000 in equity back that fast, we really only lost access to about $600 right there with purchasing this rental property, because it does grow in value and it does give us equity. What I was excited about for this property is because this property is in an up and coming area, so I know it has potential to grow pretty fast. So I do expect that this house will continue to grow in value and of course give us more equity as time goes on. But I do feel like it's going to be hard to track the value of this house just because it is in an up and coming area, meaning that there are a lot of older properties around it and it is currently being bought for lower prices and then being remodeled and then sold for higher prices. So it's going to be hard to track the value of this house just because, like, when those houses around our property is going to be bought for the lower prices, it may affect how the value of our house looks at that point. But yeah, so I am really excited that we did purchase this property. I mean, even though it wasn't our intention to purchase a single family home, and I did recently do a video talking about the challenges that we faced when purchasing our rental property. And one of them was we initially wanted to go in trying to find a multi-family home, but I couldn't find one within the price range, or I didn't feel like it was a decent enough multi-family home for me to try to rent out. So we did end up going with this single family home. But even though this wasn't what we wanted initially, I'm happy that we purchased this single family home just because it is in that up and coming area. So I do expect the value of this house to grow pretty fast, even though it's going to be hard to track. But I do expect the value of this house to grow pretty fast. So let's talk about how we were able to purchase our rental property. Like I said, I do my net worth updates each month, and if you watch those, then you know that we do have like student loan debt and we do have a mortgage on our primary residence. So the main things that help with us purchasing this rental property is that, of course, we have pretty good credit. Like, we pay all of our bills on time. And so our credit is pretty good. And then also we had money for a large enough down payment. As I told you, like, the down payment was $90,000. If you watch my video where I talked about how we were able to refinance our house to get cash back on it, then you would know that's mainly where the $90,000 came from. And then also we had to make sure that we could afford the loan. So I actually did a video as well talking about debt to income ratios and why they're important when applying for a loan. So you can check that out if you're interested. But those were the things that we were mainly considering when we were applying for the mortgage loan, to make sure they were actually looking good and ready to go as far as our credit, having a down payment for the house, and then also being able to afford the loan. Now, let's talk about our plans with this house. We're going to rent out this property at first. Our mortgage payment is $1,129 per month. With speaking to a property manager broker, I suppose that's what it's called, the rent will potentially be $17.95. That's how much we're going to put it on the market for right now. So we do want to actually establish that passive income of having rental income coming in each month. So this rental income should cover the mortgage loan payment, and then also the rental income, of course, will hopefully have a little extra money left over in our pocket. And then also we are hiring property management for this, just because I don't feel like I had the appropriate knowledge or appropriate resources to do the property management, especially like when it comes to trying to find a tenant, pulling credit, doing background checks, and even, accepting payments, how we're going to do that. So I just felt like it was going to be a little difficult for me to do that, especially right now. Like, I'm really busy all the time. So I just decided to just hire property management. And I believe the fee they're going to charge is after the initial fee that they charge for like finding a tenant, and then also, even just being able to have their services, they're going to charge us 10% of the rent each month. So, I mean, that does kind of go into our pockets as far as our profits, because we have to pay 10% out. But also, that's going to be tax deductible. So I think it's going to pay off for us. But I can see once maybe we do quit our jobs, if we do still have rental properties, I do think that I will be able to manage it. I'll be able to have time to actually look up some information, do some research, or what have you. But right now, we are going to hire property management for that. So now let's talk about our future plans with the property further down the line. So what I do plan to do is to sell the property probably within the next 5 years or so, and I want to purchase a multifamily unit, hopefully. And so I actually was looking at, I like to research things. And so I was actually looking at this article that I found on Investopedia, where it was saying like how to avoid having to pay so much taxes on a rental property when you sell it. And so I'll leave a link in the description so you can look over it yourself. And also, just let y'all know, I am not a tax advisor or anything. So this is just my personal interpretation of what I saw in this article, and also looking up a couple other articles. But if you're interested in trying to do this, please consult with a tax advisor, which I'm going to be doing as well, is speaking with my tax advisor. But my plan is to sell this property and not pay taxes on my gains, of course, like, because I mean, especially with this property being in an area that's up and coming, like I said, I do expect for maybe in the next 3 to 4 years, I do expect this house to double in value. So maybe at that point, we can try to sell the house and try to not pay as much taxes on it. And so one thing that I was possibly looking into doing was to move into the property temporarily, maybe for a couple years, just so I can say that it was my primary residence at some point, and then try to sell the house, so that way we wouldn't have to pay as much taxes on it. So another thing in this article that I found from Investopedia is that maybe you could try to sell the house and buy another house for like a similar value. And so that's another way that you could possibly not pay as much taxes on the gains that you make from the equity in the house. So that's something that I may be looking into as well. But I feel like I may just move into the property for that couple years just in case. Like, so I mean, like, first of all, life is life. Like, things don't always go as planned. And so I want to have that backup plan of, if I can't find a property of similar value immediately, then I have this backup plan as far as trying to not pay as much taxes because I lived in that property for a couple years. So, I mean, maybe that's something that we can put into place. But yeah, so I do want to eventually purchase a multifamily unit. And then also another thing is, like I said, life is life. Like, things don't always go as planned. And so, like, because I don't know how much the house is going to be worth at that time in the next few years. So, I mean, we kind of have to actually plan based off of that as far as how much the house value is actually worth in a few years, then how we're going to proceed. But yeah, so those are the details for the rental property. That's our plan for the rental property. That's why we decided to invest in a rental property. I just wanted to share that with you all because you are going to see this reflect on my net worth updates each month, where I go over all of our money and our personal finances. So I just wanted to go ahead and share with you all the details of that. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.